In this episode, we're going to imagine that beloved children's book author Richard Scarry at one point collaborated with beloved children's book director George Miller. For the vehicle, I started with this beach buggy model by Airfix. It's 1/32 scale, making it smaller than most model cars, but this is going to work well for Loli's Apple car. The model was easy to put together, even with my sausage fingers. For the apple part of the car, I used some fake fruit that I found at a charity shop. I used some toothpicks to give the apple some much needed height, and used super glue to attach it to the beach buggy. I used plastic from clamshell packaging to hide all the toothpick supports. For Loli, I originally used Sculpey, but I didn't like the results and ended up using green stuff. I just forgot to record that. I covered the apple with a mixture of some grit and paint, then began to sketch how it would fit on the base. I used pink installation offcuts to give the landscape character, attaching it with hot glue. I used Vallejo texture paste to cover the base. I attached larger rocks first, then smaller rocks and twigs from my garden. This created variety even though it's a deserted hellscape. I added a skull from Games Workshop skull set. I figured it would work in the setting as a skull of a mutant creature. Once everything dried, I began painting the base. I like to use an airbrush because it covers large areas evenly and you can get kind of subtle gradients. For the apple, I used a bright red, knowing that it would get desaturated once I weathered it, which would have been nice if I had recorded. I used a brush to add highlights and pull out details. Once everything was painted, I assembled the diorama. Now let's take a look at the hero shots. Thank you for watching this video. It took a long time to finish. First, I had the general phobia of imposter syndrome. Was my equipment good enough? And all that inner turmoil stuff. Finally, I recorded it. Shortly after I finished recording the footage, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and the film just kind of sat there for a year while I healed and recovered. The last big hurdle was learning editing software and overcoming my absolute hatred of the sound of my voice. But it's finished, so thank you for watching. Hey, Hippie Johnny, hit the like and subscribe button. I can't, Hippie Mama. I got no arms. I bet you also want them to leave a comment.